you know, I think last time I renewed my passport might have been the last form I filled out where you're asked if you're a felon. And most people mindlessly, check no. He has to check yes. I mean, just take me through what he can and can't do now that he's a felon.
Well, there are certain things that, like, can he possess a gun? That's sort of like, once he is a felon, there is actually a federal statute that makes it illegal to possess a gun. As you noted, there are issues with respect to his being able to vote. There actually, if he gets some sort of sentence and at the time that he's serving it, that may preclude him from voting, with the anomaly of he wants people to vote for him, but he will be the one person who may not be able to vote for himself. Obviously, it depends on what Judge Merchan does when he sentences him. But he also is going to, right? There could be. That's actually up to the judge to decide.
It's up to countries. Many countries won't permit him to travel to them under their rules.
Wow.
So the other is he's going to submit to a report. So there will be a pre-sentence report, and he's going to go in, and that person is going to ask him everything about himself. He is going to have to answer all sorts of questions about his finances, his background, and writes up a huge report.
What's the purpose of that?
So the judge gets a report. Both sides will see it, and it gives a recommendation as to what the sentence should be. And that is based on a whole series of things, but it includes who is the offender and what are the offense characteristics. So remorse, recidivism. Right. The judge has to decide what kind of fine should be imposed. So to do that, you need to know about the financial wherewithal of the defendant. This is, by the way, this is standard for any defendant, that there is this process. And he will be subjected to that. And just to be clear, it's because of his conduct. I mean, it's not being imposed on him. He made a choice. He was given a trial, and the jury found that he did it. So all of this is something that every defendant who has made a choice, a poor one, and is found guilty is subjected to this.
Will the report inform Judge Merchan's decision about whether or not prison time is
absolutely
on the table?
About prison time, about the fine. Now, the judge does not have to follow it, the same way that the judge doesn't have to follow the state's recommendation or the defendant's recommendation. And with Judge Merchan, you can be sure he's going to make his own decision. But all of that is information that he gets. And the reason for having a separate body, so it's not just the state or the defense, is that there's an arm of the court that is actually that's independent, that is giving that analysis, so that the court doesn't have to worry about is he getting the right information. But it is tested.
All I keep thinking of, though, is so what Trump is going to show up? Like the guy that told Fox News, I hate flippers, or the guy that walks around and then takes the mocha test in front of any camera? I mean, like, what Trump is going to show up and take this and sit for this interview?
When does it happen?
Yeah, before July 11th. But we know what Trump is going to show up. This is the point where every lawyer tells his convicted client, okay, now go there and show you're repentant. For God's sakes, you're a convict. He's not capable of it. He's going to sit down in this grimy room and just continue to fulminate. That'll show up in the report. It's something that Merchan can take account of.
What is the state of acceptance of his fate on Trump's part?
Today was evidence of that. I was in Trump Tower in the atrium, and there was anything but remorse. Donald Trump is a fighter. I mean, I wouldn't say that this was somebody who was brimming with confidence or enthusiasm or joy.
Yeah, he didn't look like that yesterday.
That is not how I would describe Donald Trump this morning. On May 31st.
Was Melania there?
Melania was not there. No. Ivanka was not there. Eric and Laura, they were standing off to the side. But I mean, look, he was just convicted, less than 24 hours ago, and you didn't see a lineup of Republican lawmakers. He was there isolated in front of those elevator doors. It was much different than, 8 years ago during the transition, when I was sitting watching those elevator doors for hours and hours as he had people go up and meet him and greet him up on the 26th floor.
Yeah.
And you see those folks there. We were guessing that most of them were Trump Organization employees based off of the way that they were dressed and where they were coming from inside the building included, but they were their little cheer squad. But other than that, it was more than 30 minutes of him referring to the bad people that did this to him, lashing out at Michael Cohen, but not by name. This was we called 2022 the revenge tour. I don't know what the next 5 months look like here? Because this is somebody who has now been sullied repeatedly by the justice system, from the E. Jean Carroll defamation suit here earlier this year, the $350 million penalty coming from the Judge Engoron and the civil fraud trial. So for him, this is just blow after blow here. And this was not somebody that, I'm used to seeing on the campaign trail this morning.
Suzanne, you, I think, again, sort of sit at this intersection of known facts, right? Things that are known to be true because there are documents that attest to them. His taxes, his tax returns, his inherited wealth, his convictions. Now, his rap sheet is now one of those things.
It's incredible when you think about it. I mean, yeah, when we don't just say now he's a felon, he's also several times indicted. But this is, and you think about, I was just sort of processing New York's reaction today, not just, the papers, get me the papers, but the papers. But just going through the city and just seeing the reaction. I mean, he's a boy from Queens. I mean, local man, convicted. He's a felon now. And just, he grew up in this city, and just how he has been so rejected by it. I mean, his father was an incredible builder in the outer boroughs, and Donald Trump grew up in this, and several of his, he's had construction projects here. This is the city that he identifies with. He's at Trump Tower right now in Manhattan. And just for this to happen in that town, it's just such a rejection. And that was sort of part of how I was seeing it. Just, and, having also, just you look at the court, too, the court system, the New York court system, and just the incredible trials that they have put on and their ability to have processed this quickly. This is what New York is known for. It was a definite New York moment when I think about, I kind of think about it.
The little De Niro on the side. Harry Limon, I'll give you the last word. I mean, I guess my enduring question is, Trump went to war with the rule of law last night, right? He's attacking the judge, he's attacking Cohen, but he's attacking something bigger. And I think the rule of law was able to fend for itself during the course of the trial. But who fends for it in the aftermath of it?
It's a great question, but it's a different question, is all I want to say. Yes, you can see the prospect, and it would be a terrible prospect, to be a catastrophic prospect, that somehow the democratic system deeply rejects this judgment. But that's not what we look to the rule of law for. We look for the rule of law. It's fundamental, as Biden says, but not omnipresent. When it's time, it's so important that it be there to respond. And it was, and that wasn't certain, I think. It hasn't been for many, a combination of sort of bizarre luck and browbeating and raw power have kept it in doubt. Now we are on the other side of it. He is on the other side. And there's going to be scores of ways in which his life is affected as a result. But look, it's not the final social answer. It's the final legal answer. But if we're a certain kind of society, that there be that answer given with certitude is, in and of itself, not complete, but a really important, no mean feat, I guess I'd say. And